This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
Good evening and welcome into the Walk-Thru. Paige Dauer alongside Jesse Smithey here inside Triple F for our last regular season walkthrough.
Yeah.
Season has flown by, Jesse.
Absolutely. It's weird. It's like once you get around the bye weeks or fall break and everything, it kind of slows down for a second. And then when you get back from fall break, it's like, oh my gosh, we got 2 weeks left. And it's just a mad dash to the finish line in the regular season. But we got so much show tonight.
Oh my God.
We're going to be talking playoffs. We're going to be talking with Lee Smith here from Triple F. We got an interview with Brian Nix from Alcoa.
Brad Turner.
And then later this week, we have our playoff war room show, which means on Friday, we'll be live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube in the pregame, at halftime, in the postgame. We'll have player guests, we'll have coach guests, we'll have special interviews, we'll have bracket reveals.
Nice.
So many teams are playing on Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the brackets will be done by Friday when we do our pregame show. So it's one of our more popular shows, so I invite everybody out there. If your team's already playing Thursday night, you don't have anything to watch on Friday, we'll be live all night long, so tune in with us.
Yeah, and the one thing you didn't mention about today's show is he's going to be taking us to class, telling us
right.
what this bracket looks like for the playoffs.
I got my whiteboard, my markers, I'm ready.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into. I want to start with, a high note, a couple of positive shout outs from last week, and we could start with the Webb School of Knoxville. They are finally, Jesse, victorious.
Finally off to Schneid. They got their win, and they've been close in so many games.
Yeah.
And Shavar Young, the senior, the Clemson commit, had another fantastic game. We talked on this show about how he continues to push himself individually and that team. And they're not going to do anything marvelous in the playoffs. I'm not sure they're even going to make the playoffs. Yeah. But they can still close their season on a positive note with good memories, and that's what they're doing at Webb. So shout out to Webb for getting that first win, snowballed into another.
Yeah, hopefully they can do just that. Another shout out we can go to Cooper Newman. He has been on fire this season. Yeah. The lifeblood to that team, especially with what he can do through the air. Absolutely.
The school's all-time leading passer now, and many are saying this record may never be broken because he's just a junior.
Wow.
And when you're the all-time leading passer as a junior, you got another season to play, and who knows, maybe 5-6 more games this year.
Yeah.
You can really, really tack on to that passing yard total. So we'll see what happens with that. But an unbelievable career already to this point. State champion last year. He was the 5-Star Preps Offensive Underclassman of the Year as a sophomore, and now has his team in position to be a 1 seed. We'll talk about Sevier County more later in the show when we get to the playoff bracket tutorial.
Yes.
But nevertheless, a shout out to Cooper Newman. Well done.
One aspect or position that we don't talk often about are head coaches, and we could go to Bearden Girls Soccer. And what a career that he has had the last handful of seasons at Bearden.
Ryan Radcliffe with win number 400 in his career, and that is incredible. And he coaches boys soccer as well. And I'm old enough to remember him as a player at Bearden High School, and now he's 400 wins deep into his career. And Bearden High School, they're at the state tournament this week down in Chattanooga in the Class AAA bracket. A lot of people doubted them earlier in this year. They lost some big-time players to the college ranks, but Ryan has rallied the troops. They're down there, and hopefully we'll see if they can win a state championship.
Yeah, they got a couple former players now at Tennessee
Absolutely.
who had a hot start to their soccer season. And then Randall Cobb, it was so great. He's an Alcoa great, played at Kentucky as well a little bit in the NFL, but he made his way all the way back to Alcoa last week for a special moment.
He doesn't look like he's aged one iota.
No.
Absolutely not. And Randall Cobb was always one of my favorite players to cover back when he played at Alcoa. Threw one of the prettiest deep balls you'll ever see on those play-action bombs they used to throw to Kyrus Langster and whoever else. But he was a fantastic player, but Nobody, and I really believe this, nobody at Alcoa or in East Tennessee suspected he would become what he became in the NFL. We knew he'd be a great player in college, whether they used him at quarterback, at wide receiver, whatever, at Kentucky. But the niche that he found himself in at Green Bay and later with Dallas and a few other teams was just off of pure heart and skill and a want to and a desire and a knowledge of the game. And he's the perfect example for that community, for kids to say, look what you can do with your life by making the right choices and developing yourself as a player and as a person.
I love that you said that. So I do sideline reporting for Alcoa football games, and I talked to Brian Nix after the game too, and I just asked him, like, what does Randall Cobb represent to your football program? And he's like, there are so many other guys who maybe have more talent, but there are a few guys who give back to the community the way that he did, the leader that he is. Like, he is the leader that I want our kids to follow. And when I was talking to Randall after his induction, I just asked him, like, you've been in so many Hall of Fames, right? The Blount County, Kentucky athletics, and then now here at Alcoa. And he's like, he got emotional. He's just like, this one is actually my favorite. This one is the most special to me. And he gets teared up and he's like, I just love where I'm from. And you could really see it in that conversation.
Yeah, and I remember him early in his career as a guy that they would use a little bit on offense. He was an underclassman. They had a loaded team, but he played cornerback. And then when it became time for him to take the reins of the offense, you could see him really start to blossom. And all that skill and talent that was maybe in the shadows of some of these big-time players was starting to come out, and it was amazing to see. Again, he was a Mr. Football winner. He led them to state championships. This is not like he was some diamond in the rough. He was a very polished player, and many SEC programs wanted him. But again, what he became was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it was good to see him back here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. All right, let's walk back to week 10 real quick, because there were some really interesting matchups,
Sure.
Some really surprising and much needed wins. We could start with Central and William Blount. Interesting game with William Blount.
Maybe the most interesting game of week 10. I got back to 5 Star Prep's headquarters, my house,
Okay.
in time for the fourth quarter of that game. And it was Central down 6 points. They were driving. They throw an interception in the red zone. You're thinking this game's over. You know, this is really going to hurt maybe their playoff seeding. We'll see. But when they turned that ball over, William Blount got it at the 1 yard line. So Central was able to force that punt, get the ball back with a minute, some change left. And Central did what Central has done of late, kind of have that cardiac cats moment where they get the comeback touchdown, and they were able to do that. And this is a team that's, again, has faced a lot of adversity in various ways throughout the season. Last week, they didn't have Javiston Badgett. We've talked about him, a guy that's well in line for 1,000 yards. And who stepped up? Torrin McAfee, over 290 yards receiving, really filling in that gap that Javiston Badgett left. Now, I think Javiston's going to be coming back very soon. Okay. And that's a huge boost for Central because, again, we talked about on the show last week, when he's in there, he can stretch defenses. Everything opens up underneath for Central, and they can do a myriad of things. So, but that was just heart and will of a fun Central team. I can't wait to see what they do in the 5A playoffs.
Should be exciting. Let's move on to Weston Carnes. I guess you could call it a statement win by West, but it was a much needed 42-7 victory.
Solidified that spot in the playoffs. That's what last Friday was all about for West High School. They've been playing so well leading up to that game. They came out, took another big lead, and really stamped their place in the 5A bracket. And again, we're going to talk about them when we talk about the playoff system coming up here later in the show. But they have a really intriguing first-round matchup likely that we'll talk about very soon. But again, tip of the cap to West High School for getting into the playoffs, for Halls High School for getting into the playoffs.
Right.
2 disastrous starts for both of those programs, and they showed the kind of the character of their program by making good on the second half of the season.
Yeah, and then that's a huge testament to character, too, to be able to turn it on after a rough start. Catholic and CPA, I think this was another game that came down to the wire as well, 28-26 in favor of Catholic. What do we need to know about that game?
What you need to know is I left at halftime.
Okay.
Because Catholic was down 20-7. They were dead in the water. They were showing absolutely no signs of winning that football game. I was going out there to do a story maybe on Tyreek King winning on senior night. And I'd been out there a few times this year during this recent offensive struggle, and they're showing the same signs, and I'm like, I think I'm just going to go. And of course, they make a comeback and win the football game. Now, they've made a quarterback change. Garrett King is taken over at quarterback. He's the underclassman, and he kind of caught fire there in the second half. I think he ended up with 160 yards and a couple touchdowns. And Cruz Bunton, their freshman running back, really kind of came into his own in that game. So Is it really going to change much with the playoff outlook for Catholic? No, they're going to have to go on the road and play far away in the first round of the playoffs. But again, you're going into it with a little bit of momentum and something positive to look back on.
When we move our attention to Loudoun and Signal Mountain, they won 20-17. Did that win for Loudoun tell us anything new or different about this team?
I don't know anything new or different, but again, it kept them in the mix. And at this point in their region, that was critical for them to win that football game and to stay in the mix for better playoff seeding. And it hasn't been the smoothest of seasons for Loudoun. They definitely have had better seasons, more banner seasons. But sometimes when you have years like this, it's rewarding as a coach and as a player to know that you fought tooth and nail to earn your spot in the playoffs and maybe earn a positive seeding. Who knows, maybe even earn a home game in that first round. So keep an eye on Loudoun here in week 11, but that was a critical win for the Redskins.
Yeah, another critical win. We can turn our attention to Gibbs and Heritage. We'll hear from Gibbs head coach and Brad Turner in a moment, but a huge win when it comes to the idea of kind of controlling your own destiny if you're in the perspective of Gibbs.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know we were going to get a touchdown in that game for a while. It was like 3-0 for the longest time, and that game was really panning out to be the defensive battle that I think everybody thought it might be. But there late in the second half, scores started pouring in, and for that point, like you said, it's kind of controlling your own fate.
Yeah.
Gibbs had the home game. They had the home crowd behind them. They had the better body of work. We talked about that on the show last week. And that was put into play. The character and the fight that program has under Brad Turner, I think, came into play. They played tougher games before, and I think that experience and that know-how of how to win meaningful games was a factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heritage has lost, I think, its last 3 games coming into that one. So it's just that belief and that know-how by Gibbs maybe decided that football game.
Yeah, and a nice quote by Brad Turner. They got more physical as the game went along. But here's the head coach talking to 5-Star Preps after that win. Coming up next, it's Lee Smith. So make sure you stay tuned so you don't miss out. We'll be right back.
I'm here with Gibbs head coach. Coach, what was the message at halftime for your team there?
Starting over. 0-0, starting over. Nothing's really going to change. We just need to execute, eliminate penalties. We knew it was going to be a physical game. 2 of the best linebackers I've seen from that team. Very good football players. But we battled. Defense did a phenomenal job. A little too many penalties. Both sides, I felt like too many penalties in the whole game. But, other than that, glad to come out on top. Looking forward to next week for a chance to finish second and host.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
The regular season is over. It's win or go home. The 5-Star Preps Playoff War Room coming this Friday.
To the Walk-Thru, presented by Triple F, now joined by Lee Smith, owner, proprietor of Triple F. Lee, thanks so much for joining the show. I can't remember how many years we've been out here now, but we absolutely love it. And every time we come here, there's something going on. And I wonder, I want you to kind of take us back to your vision of this place. Is this what you had envisioned it to be, or has it even become more?
It's become more. If you'd have told me I'd be in the volleyball business 3 years ago, I'd have told you were crazy. Obviously, the NFL Combine kind of fell in our lap, I would guess. I think that was a God thing for sure. But yeah, it's, I was a young entrepreneur, definitely not experienced in business. And my thing is anything we can do to impact kids, I'm going to jump all over it. But trying to find the balance and making sure we stay exactly who we are. But it's just so cool what it has become, and this Bible study back there going on behind us. It's awesome. It's very close, but I would say there's definitely a few little things that it's like, man, I didn't plan on that, but it always kind of works out how it's supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the Bible study, I know we talk about it every single week because that's kind of what we lead off the show with, and it keeps getting bigger every week and more kids pouring in there. That's a lot of pizza you guys have to buy, by the way, but to see that impact being made, I mean, that's got to be ultra rewarding.
There's no investment I'm willing to make more than extra pizzas for Bible study around here. So Coach LaRusso is kind of taking it over, which I think is my pastor gets on me all the time. He's like, Lee, you don't go to church for your preacher. You go to church for Jesus. And I'm like, man, listen, you got to let me know the Sundays you're not preaching. But no, the guys at Shoreline that are there when Jason's not do a great job. But It's one of those deals where God gave LaRusso a gift, and since he's taken that over lately, it has seemed to be blowing up, and it just gives me chills. So that's what we do here, man. It's more about life impact than it is athletic development. Obviously, you're, as a parent, paying us for the athletic development piece, and I think we're really good at that with Coach Rich and his systems and everything we do. But just the impact that our coaches have because they care. It means more to them than just these kids jumping higher.
I know you've brought me in once or twice on recruiting seminars you've done for parents, and you guys impact it in that way too. But you talked about the athletic development of it. And there are times that I've come in here and I see kids that are doing position-specific moves and training on whether it's a bend or what, just things that are more scientific-based. And it's not just, okay, let's get you ready for your 40 time. Let's get your vertical leap improved for a combine or whatever you're going to run on the weekend. There's more to it than that. Can you talk about just kind of the science that goes into how you train athletes here?
So that's the number one question we get is, you do sport-specific training. And it's like, listen, I think I could have done a pretty good job after playing pro sports for a long time of building workout plans for your kid and making them real sweaty. But there's a reason that I begged and pleaded Rich Burnett to move his entire family here. He's the scientist behind everything here. And, when I would walk into a weight room in pro sports, there was a guy that had a lot of experience with the Scientology of what the human body needs. And when I truly learned that as a professional, I played the best ball I ever played in my 30s. And that's what really fired me up for what we do here. So whether you're a basketball player, a volleyball player, a football player, that's what Coach Rich does in the layer, I call it, upstairs every single day, is what do each one of these athletes specifically need to dominate their sport. And a little faster twitch movement here looks different for a basketball player crossing somebody over than it looks for a football player kick sliding backwards. But at the same time, that's what Coach Rich is the best at. And, as humbly as I can put that, that's what separates us. It separates us from facilities. And I give Coach Rich all the credit and all my coaches for how intentional they are with each kid's specific plan based off of what sport they play.
And Rich can either probably nerd out with you with the data, or he can put it in a simplistic form of somebody like me, or he can show me that graph and shows me how offensive linemen are supposed to look and where they've grown from this point to that point. It's a really amazing kind of factor. He can show parents and players to do that. But in terms of, again, how this place continues to grow, tell us kind of what's going on, what's new with Triple F. I know there's a lot of initiatives that you're a part of.
Absolutely. So, when we first opened, it was 12 months and 12 months only. I had this big vision of we're going to train everybody like pro athletes. And in season, we're going to teach you how to perform in season and make sure you stay in the weight room, which is a little bit of a misconception, but with our in-season plan that you see over there. But we learned, I don't want to say the hard way because it was the way it was supposed to be, but there's just so much demand on these high school athletes. So the 3, 6, 9, and 12-month memberships have become a huge part of what we do to allow parents the flexibility to get through those buzzsaw times with 2 parents that work and 2 kids that play sports and carpools and all the things. And then one thing I'm excited about is we're about to launch a personal training part of the business as well, which we've never done. So for our adults out there that, everybody thinks this is the kid place. And we have an awesome adult program. We have an awesome system getting built right now for personal training inside of this place so we can get more and more parents in here. The one thing that I've the one thing that I've realized is healthy parents build healthier kids. And I was kid at the beginning, and I've really started to fall in love with kind of some of our adult stuff. Just my friends and people that come in here that may be overweight or maybe struggling with whatever, and all of a sudden they really get fired up for this fitness stuff and get healthy, and then their kids just benefit from a healthier parent. So I'm excited for that stuff. Volleyball is about to crank up, so we get all the girlies back in here. All the boys have to start acting right, which is good. NFL Combine's right around the corner. We're going to be singing Jingle Bells in no time. Man, it's crazy how fast this year's gone by. But yeah, and then bringing John Feliciano on for all of our offensive line development and Amari in for our receiver development. That's some of the stuff that's really exciting me just from the football standpoint is athletic development is what we do. I don't care what sport you play. Rich is going to make it custom and make sure that you get what you need. But I'm a football guy. So having John and Amari in here and then D Stone for the quarterback side, now regardless of what position you play on the offensive side of the ball, you can get the training and the elite skill work, which I'm fired up about. And And I think once high school season ends and we start pushing it out and letting people know exactly what we're doing, I think it's going to turn on. And a lot of kids are going to get the benefit from two dudes who played at the top.
You talked about being a parent. You yourself are a parent of a high school football player here in East Tennessee, Brody Smith, offensive lineman at Maryville High School. He recently just concluded his recruiting process, committed to NC State. Just everything that you've preached to parents around here, you had to live.
Right.
Are you at peace now that your son has made that decision? And what all did you learn and take away from the recruiting process?
Yeah, it's, I'm proud of him and I'm happy for him, right? He made a little bit of an unpopular decision, and me and Mom, obviously, we'd love to have him close. I tell people all the time, we're losing a lot of memories in our pool of him and his teammates with him five hours away. So, it came down to Coach Hype in Tennessee and NC State. Purdue was in the mix, so he narrowed it down to those three. And I'm happy for him because it's not the decision that is the hardest. It's, calling Glenn Ellerby. It's calling Vance Weiss at Purdue. It's calling these men that have spent so much time recruiting you, that you've built these awesome bonds with, to say, I've decided to go somewhere else. And that's hard for a 17-year-old kid. And he wasn't going to text them. He wasn't going to email them. He was going to call them and tell them like a man would.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
And I'm happy for him that that's off his plate. I'm proud of him for making a decision, because I promised him and everyone else that I would just be the guide. But I wanted him to make the decision that he thought was best for him. And that's what he did. And I'm happy for him, excited for him to go learn how to be a man that sets his own alarm clock and all those things. But it's definitely a crazy process. It's a little bit different than when I was getting recruited, with money and transfer portal and, a lot of the things that we're seeing in the NCAA these days. But it was a cool process as a dad, especially as a football dad. So I'm happy for him.
You spent so much time in NFL, and I've always wondered this, and never really asked you. When you go to high school games, and I'm not trying to get you to call out Team X or Team Y or Coach so-and-so, but how hard is it for you to watch high school football through the lens of somebody who sees the game at the professional level and seeing it at the high school level, where I'm sure you want to tell or scream something from the mountaintops to do this or to do that?
I sit in the very top corner of the bleachers every game by myself. And I don't even sit with my wife. I love you, Alicia. But and I tell her, I'm watching different things than everybody else is watching. Mm-hmm. And I don't want parents screaming in my ear and all those things. But as nice as I can put this, it's infuriating at times.
Yeah.
But I've learned to not let it infuriate me, to just offer help to everybody in town. Every coach in this town knows that they can call me, John, Amari, anybody, and we would love to serve them in their football knowledge. But I can't expect, it'd be like, expecting somebody in their first year of med school to know what the heart surgeon knows. We just have a PhD in that world. And we were so fortunate to play in it for so long that, once again, I'm trying to say this the right way, but they just don't know. Mm-hmm. And I've learned to just sit back and say, hey, hit this guy up or hit that guy. Hey, if you ever want to talk ball, if you ever want to talk run game, if you ever want to talk protection, coverage, anything, call us. That's what I would really love, because I love the game, and the game changed my life. And the only reason this place is here is because of the game of football. Mm-hmm. So I would love for, at some point down the line, all the coaches in town to get super comfortable just giving us a call for all, big things or little things, mm-hmm. and say, hey, man, we're struggling here. I'd love to learn how to get better in this situation that feels like keeps biting us. That's what I would really love long term. But I've been offering it for 3 years. I don't get many phone calls. So I guess these guys think they know more than they actually do, which is fine. And we're going to keep serving their kids while they're here and loving on them. And I'm going to sit up there and bite my tongue and smile and enjoy my kids playing.
Yeah.
That's as nice as I can be about it. For all you coaches out there, I love you. So sorry.
Lee, you've been so gracious in letting us do this show out here for so many months, so many years. And I absolutely love coming here. Before we let you go and get back to the show, I know there's a sneaker ball coming up, yes. Right? That's something that I probably need to go to. My kicks are in bad shape. I don't know if I could benefit from going to that.
That's all right. Yeah, so sneaker, we have No Athlete Left Behind that's attached to the business. And essentially what No Athlete Left Behind is making sure that 50 kids in this community from, I would say treacherous, some of them not as treacherous backgrounds, mostly no fathers present in the home, to have the ability to be here and get the privilege that all the kids get who can afford it. Mm-hmm. And it's a big-time mentorship program. The NALB kids actually get a little more. They get all the things the paying kids get, but then they get the mentorship, the meals, all the workshops that we do. And Sneaker Ball is our gala, so to speak, every year. Put on your fresh suit or, business casual outfit with some awesome sneakers.
Yeah.
And try to get as many of my pro athlete buddies and Tennessee players and guys to come in town and just support the kids. God bless me with athletics. So we try to pour into the athletes in this town that are fired up about working hard and changing the direction of their future and the past generations of their families' futures to be strong, awesome husbands and fathers, and our girlies know what strong, awesome husbands and fathers are supposed to look like. So February 28th, Sneaker Ball. Mama Jen will be pushing out all the tickets and tables, and we'll be launching it here in the next 30 days probably as we get 90 days out. But awesome event, serves all these kids, gives them the ability to be here, but also gives them these Bible studies and a lot of workshops on their spiritual life and what it looks like to be a man through Jesus's eyes, not Lee's eyes. And it gives me chills talking about it because we got a lot of awesome people that are supporting, and it's been an awesome deal watching these kids change the vision of what their future is going to look like.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff, and I'd love for you to be there.
I know I've shared it on social media. I'll continue to do that, so make sure you're checking it out either on Triple F social media or 5 Star Preps. We'll have the details for that in the coming weeks. Lee, thanks so much,
buddy.
man.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Enjoy the playoff.
Yeah, thanks for always hosting us here on the Walk-Thru at Triple F. Don't you guys go anywhere. We got more to come on the show.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
The regular season is over. It's win or go home. The 5-Star Preps Playoff War Room coming this Friday.
Welcome back into the walkthrough. You guys just saw a peek there of the region standings. This is the segment I teased to earlier in the show where Jesse Smithey is going to take us to class. You might see a little prop down by his feet because there's a few complicated changes to the playoff bracket, Jesse.
Right, and so back in earlier this year, the Board of Control really they changed the playoff bracket system. And one of the things that they wanted to do was shake up the second round games. What had happened over the years was it became all too predictable. You knew who you're going to play in the first round. You could pretty much project who you're going to play in the second round. And a lot of the times, and we'll see this here in a minute, a lot of the times the second round games were just rematches of games that we saw in week 10 and 11.
Oh.
And so it became really stale, and it's just like, man, we just saw this matchup a couple of weeks ago between Powell and West. Why are we playing this again? Or whoever the teams may be. So they sent out questionnaires to coaches all around the state. And I don't know if people were actually clamoring for change. There was a majority of people that said we would like to see change.
Yeah, it's just something that's like really getting boring, you know,
right.
like
So
you mentioned.
what I did was, and I have
the big reveal. Can we put like a sound graphics on this?
Yeah. A lot of money and time went into this. So, so what I have here is a pod from the 5A bracket that Sevier County was in last year, 2024. You got Sevier County up here, Region 1 seed, and so this year, all the first round matchups will still go as planned. Your Region 1 seed will take on your 4 seed out of Region 2.
Standard.
And so forth and so on.
Okay.
And then what happened was in your second round, you see Sevier County versus Powell. Your Region 2 teams are green color coded here.
Yes.
So you can see what happens. You see green team, rematch of regular season district games.
Yeah.
And so now under this new system, we have lots more colors, right?
Yeah.
So we have Region 1 in the red, we have Region 2 in the green. We'll now have pods.
Yeah.
We'll have pods up here that feature teams from Region 3 and Region 4.
Okay.
Now Region 3 and Region 4 will still play against each other in the first round, just like Region 1 and Region 2 will play against each other in the first round. Mm-hmm. But the new bracket system has pods integrated so that the second round matchup will feature, let's just say, Sevier County taking on either Tullahoma or East Hamilton. So let's just say this is a 2 seed up here. Let's say Ray County wins. So instead of a Sevier County Powell matchup in second round, we're getting them taking on a Middle Tennessee team or a lower, this is kind of Chattanooga area. And so again, it's refreshing the bracket. It's giving us new matchups we're not used to seeing in the second round.
Your probability increases for new matchups.
But what if Tullahoma wins? You got Tullahoma, Southern Middle Tennessee, going 3-4 hours maybe all the way to Sevier County. One of the biggest gripes in past years with coaches and our playoff system was we don't want to travel as much for first and second round games. In the third and fourth round, it's unavoidable. You're going to have to go sometimes to the far corners of the state. But when you might be a 3 seed that you know you're not going to win a state championship and you have to pay thousands of dollars to go on the road to play at Sevier County, there might be a lot of griping on this.
Yeah.
And what I'm afraid of is in the smaller classifications where you have small schools where the money's just not as prevalent in some of these bigger schools.
Yeah.
Let's say a 4 seed from a 1A bracket out in Nowheresville wins, and now they have to go, let's say 4 hours to South Pittsburgh, who is a state power that nobody's going to beat. Are they going to pay the buses, the charter buses, the meals, and all the travel costs to go to South Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Or will they just say, hey, Coach so-and-so, we can't play that game. Do we get an X out here? So this is isolated circumstance that I think we'll find. But again, give it a 2-year run and let's see. But nevertheless, I mean, we're going to see, let's say Powell take, and these are matchups that we're probably going to see first round.
Yeah.
West is the 4 seed this year in Region 2. They're going to take on Sevier County. That's a rematch of the state quarterfinals from last year. That was overtime game that West High School called a pass at the goal line. Some people said it was in, some people didn't. Sevier County won that game. They go on to win a state championship. So we're going to get to see West High School versus Sevier County in the first round, and then whoever wins that game is going to take on somebody out of Region 3 or Region 4. Powell's taking on a really kind of subpar Mo West team, so we're expecting Powell to get through here, and then they'll either face Lincoln County or East Hamilton or Ray County, McMinn County. That'll all be decided here in week 11. That's something we'll keep track of on the War Room. But seeing Powell take on Lincoln County in the second round or an East Hamilton or Ray County, it's exciting, it's fresh and new. I'm just worried, again, about all the Division I, how it's going to play out. So that's kind of what you need to look out for. I explained it the best way that I can. But again,
this is why you have boosters. You need fans to get involved. And I think at the end of the day, that problem that you see there was a problem that had already been happening as well, where these smaller teams are having to travel super far. Just hopefully it doesn't happen more.
I don't want to see games get canceled because the costs are too much.
Yeah.
And the kids that happen to win that first round game, maybe they can't afford to go play that second round game. Again, I think those are small circumstances in certain communities, and who knows, maybe if that happens, maybe the TWSA gets involved, maybe they pitch in. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll cross that bridge when it happens. But that's what you guys need to know for this year's playoff system, is that it's not just going to be Region 1, Region 2, all the way through the quarterfinals. You're going to see Region 3, Region 4 integrated on our top half of the bracket. Now in the bottom, Middle Tennessee and West, it's Regions 5, 6, 7, and 8, all kind of mixing up in the pod. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be maybe a little harder for us this week to kind of keep track of what Region 3 and Region 4 teams are doing in real time to kind of set up those pairings. So it's going to be a little harder on the War Room to maybe we have to stay live for a little bit longer. We'll see. But again, so many teams are playing on Thursday night this week that I think
help,
we'll have
the new playoff
a lot of it mapped out and outlined.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's
I
new.
am excited, yeah.
And the last time I can remember change like this was the Z Plan. Now the Z Plan was 2009.
Maybe before my time, yes.
And this was something that North Carolina had done and some surrounding states, and it was a way to eradicate travel costs in the first couple of rounds. So they put everybody in pods and this, that, and the other, and it was an absolute dumpster fire for years. So I'm hopeful that this doesn't follow that same track. But just everybody be aware that changes are here for the playoff brackets. Now this is just Division 1, not the same in Division 2. Those are all their own entities, but classes 1 through 6A will have changes in that second round this year. Yeah, I'm excited for all those new matchup potentials that we have. So good luck trying to figure out who's playing who starting next week. I hope that helps. I spent a good 30 minutes making that poster board today.
But it's more of a mental game for you trying to map all
absolutely.
of that out. Well, when we come back, we'll hear from Brian Nix of Alcoa and who our picks are for this week, the final regular season game weekend that we have before we get to the playoffs. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
The regular season is over. It's win or go home. The 5-Star Preps Playoff War Room coming this Friday.
Randall Cobb on campus. I mean, what was that like? Did he get a chance to talk to the guys, and was that kind of a motivator for them, you think?
Yeah, he teared me up because, he started, with thanking the coaches and the community and what they did. And Randall's just a genuine human being. And I talk to our guys all the time. I told them, this guy was in the NFL 2011. He didn't get his degree till 2016. So he already had his second NFL contract, bunch of money in the bank, still got his degree, understood that now he's in his early 30s and he's got the rest of his life to live to do something different than football. And so I try to emphasize, and the reason he's where he's at is the way he's lived his life, what he did off the field, how he took care of himself. And I think he's just an example, a real life example. All the stuff we're telling you is the truth, if you'll, because he bought into it and did the things himself, and you see the life that he's led for himself. So just so thankful that he came in early, talked to our guys, but he does so much for this community that no one, because he won't let you say anything. Yeah. Just what he does. And you just couldn't be a better human being, and you couldn't be more happy for a person's success than him.
I know we've talked about Thomas before this year, obviously his first year as a starter, but just kind of how would you evaluate him to this point in the season, what he's been able to do for you guys?
I knew he was good. Yeah. His accuracy, and just once again, he's just coaching. He takes what's there. He doesn't try to force the ball down the field. He doesn't just hone in on one receiver, and he keeps getting better. It's delayed gratification. I mean, Thomas sat here behind Eli Graff and played safety a whole year. Never played defense before. Played safety a whole year, and prepared as a backup like he was a starter. That's why he was ready to come in and really win a whole year being behind and just coming in. So you love to see him have success. And once again, it's like we say about Randall. I mean, Thomas is almost a 4.0 student. I mean, discipline's great. People in school, when you're a good human being, it carries over into everything you do.
You talked about it a minute ago, but you guys go to AC next week. Just talk about that matchup, that team, and then obviously what's kind of been your impressions of how these guys have handled 4A in their first year?
Yeah, I think, they've done well. And I think it's just always and I think it's helped us that, the last 2 years, our regular season schedule has been brutal. Last year, you come out of the gate with Ravenwood, that loaded Bearden team, a defending champion West team. So I think having played all those higher classification teams really helped us go into this. I think when it really gets, where it's going to get difficult is really the playoffs start next week, because you're going to get Anderson County, and then you're going to get good teams throughout the playoffs. We're going to have, got a couple of guys banged up tonight. That's going to happen. We're going to lose somebody. And so I think the depth has really got to come in more this year. But, it'll be a great environment. I've watched games up there. They do a great with game day. It's a super talented team. And, they've got just as much to gain or lose as we do. So it'll be, it's one of those games that just make one more play than they do.
Welcome back into the Walk-Thru. Paige Dauer alongside Jesse Smithey. Great conversation you all had with Brian Nix, head coach of the Alcoa Tornadoes.
Yeah, Noah Taylor kind of put him on the spot there last week. I texted him, hey man, can you get just a quick interview with Brian Nix? There's no such thing as a quick interview with Brian Nix. He is very much a long quote, and I love that, because as a former newspaper guy, you don't want little 3 or 4 word bites. Brian Nix kind of gives it to you all there. So great conversation between Noah and Brian Nix, and he got to talk about Randall Cobb. He got to talk about how Alcoa has handled itself in 4A. I think everybody agrees they've done extremely well.
Yeah.
Now they got a big game this week to solidify that region title. But that's what we've been hoping for all season long. When we found out that Alcoa is going up into 4A, everybody immediately said Anderson County, Alcoa for the region championship, and the football gods have given it to us.
Yes, thank goodness. Well, one team that kind of got in the way a little bit for Anderson County was Gibbs. We'll talk about that matchup first. They're going to take on Carter this week, and a win against Carter for Gibbs could go a long way in them having a prettier road in the postseason.
I think the more important thing was last week, both teams solidified their playoff spots.
Yes.
And again, Gibbs has had such a wonderful season this year. The win over Anderson County, just how they've competed against bigger teams sometimes, or teams that maybe have the more name brand, and to continue to watch that program grow into this spot, it's been remarkable. And we're going to see them in the postseason, but this game is a meaningful one. I like Gibbs to win this football game.
Okay.
Again, just the momentum that they continue to build throughout this season, winning tough games, winning games they're supposed to, maybe winning a game they're not supposed to. I like what Gibbs has done. Again, Keith Jones at quarterback has gotten better this year, and stars are emerging.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where they would be in the skill department this year, but every week I see new guys coming up in the box scores, 70, 80 yards receiving, 90 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing. Guys are being developed at Gibbs High School, and they have the mojo, and I like them to win this football game against Gibbs.
Hey, I like that. Our next game is Elizabethton taking on Greenville. The series history will tell you this is a close matchup, but not so much for the last 3 games. Greenville kind of controlling that.
Yeah, absolutely. They've won all those games in the regular season, and I think they've won the last 4 regular season. They lost in the playoffs to Elizabethton maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
But as you mentioned, the last 3 years they've been spotless against Elizabethton, and Elizabethton lost their starting quarterback to injury. They've continued to roll. Without him, that's the sign of a great program. This is a state championship program just 6-7 years ago. 6-7.
Okay.
And I didn't do that on purpose, even though my son loves that. But I know a lot of our followers out there probably caught that. We're probably doing it at home. So having a 12-year-old at home, it just comes out now. But Elizabethton has definitely been there, and they know how to compete in this game against Greenville. But Caden Ball, the quarterback at Greenville, phenomenal year. Zayden Anderson at Greenville, wide receiver, cornerback, phenomenal year. Greenville, I think, is powerful.
Yeah.
They want to make noise in the playoffs, and they start it by winning this game. It's basically a playoff game.
It feels like that.
I like Greenville to win that one at home.
Yeah, I like that too. Powell and West is also another series that's been very competitive the last several meetings. Almost kind of feels like that championship vibe. Powell, of course, in first place right now. But is this matchup maybe going to look like how it did in, I think it was 2021, where they won 35-7?
I think it'll be a good game because, again, we've talked about West coming alive here late in the season. I wouldn't want to face West at this point. They have found their mojo. They got 2 quarterbacks now. The running backs are popping off.
Messiah
Wren and Raheem Lee are having big second halves of the season.
Yeah.
Defense is playing great. Powell bounced back last week. That was good to see. Remember, they lost that game 2 weeks ago to Jefferson County, and they bounced back in a major way last week and get that win. So this game maybe doesn't have the significance that it used to, in that because Powell's already got the 1 seed locked up and West already knows who it has to play. But West doesn't want to lose this game because it wants to keep that momentum, all that momentum that they built in the second half of this season going into that matchup with Sevier County. But Deuce Rogers at quarterback is just dynamic. He can cause so many problems and do so many things, running the football, throwing the football. Zy Jackson at wide receiver has sneakily put together a remarkable season. He's almost at 1,000 yards. I just feel like those two guys might be the difference makers in this game for Powell, but it's going to be a fantastic football game. Powell, yeah.
All right. We'll move on to Oak Ridge and Maryville. At the beginning of the season, I don't know if I was super hyped over this matchup, but the way that Oak Ridge has taken care of business this entire season and Maryville doing what they typically do, I am very interested in this matchup.
I was more encouraged about Oak Ridge being able to compete in this game given what they did last week. Remember, they're still without Demillion Porter, their running back. They're still without Will Presley, their star wide receiver. And yet there they were throwing for 357 yards with Blaine Stansberry, 4 touchdowns. And he also ran for 2 touchdowns. They are calling his number more as a quarterback, running the football without Demillion Porter. 2 weeks ago, he ran for, I think, 96 yards. And then now last week, 47 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they are filling in the gaps the best they can. I just really wish that Will Presley was out there. And I want to see both teams at full strength. You're talking about Oak Ridge and all of its history, Maryville and all its history. When we got that game, when we saw Oak Ridge was jumping up to 6A, you're right. Everybody was excited about it, and it kind of built as the season wore on. I wish Oak Ridge was at full strength. I'm going to take Maryville because of that.
Okay.
But again, I like Oak Ridge's ability to compete better in this game because, again, they've learned to adjust, and they have adjusted without those 2 players.
What I think is interesting, despite maybe not having those 2 players for the entirety of the season, these are 2 teams that are really offensively incredibly savvy. Both teams haven't let up more than 2 touchdowns in a single game, but like once or twice, funny enough, both times coming to Farragut. So I'm curious if you think this is going to be a high scoring affair or if the defense might take over in this game.
I don't know, high scoring, maybe in the 20s.
Okay.
You know, maybe Maryville 30, Oak Ridge 21, 22, somewhere. Yeah, no, I'm not good. But I'm not going to predict what I did with Clinton and South Doyle a few weeks ago. I'm not that high scoring, but yeah, I mean, both teams have experienced quarterbacks, great offensive-minded coaches. They're going to do their homework and dissect each other, and they'll probably have some plays that they score them.
All right. Our last game, best game of the weekend. I hope it lives up to all of the hype and expectations because that's a lot of pressure, but it's Alcoa and Maryville. It's the first meeting, Alcoa in the brand new classification. What are you most looking forward to in this matchup?
So let's start with Anderson County. A week ago, again, we've talked about J.D. Gillen being worked back into the fold for Anderson County. It started 2 weeks ago against Union County, and that's not the opponent to really kind of knock off any rust against. Now, last week against South Doyle, a team that has a very good secondary, they were good at times, they were bad at times. They had 2 interception returns for touchdowns that they allowed in that game. They allowed a kickoff return for a touchdown in that game. But when it mattered most, they leaned on Jason Thompson. He ran for over 350 yards in that game. What you want to see out of Anderson County is the opponent going to sharpen them? Is it going to sharpen their performance? And I think it will. It's just like when any underdog takes on a big time opponent, it's always a Super Bowl. They always play their hardest. You're going to see Anderson County playing its hardest, and I think you'll see some of the penalties go the way. I can't promise that the mistakes won't be there because Alcoa's defense is unbelievable. It would not surprise me if they get their hand on a football or 2.
Central game looked the way it did.
But I think you'll see a different Anderson County this week than you saw against South Doyle last week. That being said, Alcoa is peaking.
Yes.
They're in top form right now. They have shown no weakness. Thomas Manu at quarterback. We're in week 11. He has more touchdown passes than incomplete passes this year. Now think about the insanity of that after 10 weeks of football, we're in late October, that he's thrown more touchdown passes than incomplete passes. I don't think anybody could have predicted that. Him coming in, taking over for Eli Graff, who should have won Mr. Football last year. That's a story for a different show. But to come in and lead this football team the way that he has been unbelievable. He doesn't get rattled, and I don't think all that noise and light flickering and fireworks at Anderson County is going to shake him whatsoever.
So you're taking Alcoa?
I'm taking Alcoa.
All right, I love that. All right, that was our final regular season walkthrough. Make sure to tune in Friday for the War Room. It's going to be an exciting Friday night in high school football. We'll see you guys then.
This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.